Welcome to the Redirect Podcast, where we explore what comes after career. Real conversations about transitioning from the 9-to-5 grind to your next great adventure. Whether you're heading into retirement or simply redefining what purpose means, we're here to inspire, inform, and help you reimagine what's next. This isn't the end of the road. It's the start of something new. Adam and Dale, we're back in the studio, and I want to say thank you. This week was a special week for us as the Redirect Podcast because a year ago, the concept of getting together, and as Dale has always said, this has got to be a podcast, and it is. And I want to say congratulations. I want to say thank you, and I want to thank the Lord for being with us on this journey. So congratulations, guys.
Thank you. Can I say we come a long way? I'm not
definitely
sure we knew much about social media a year ago, and thank God for Adam here, and his technical skills that got us 70% of the way here. So,
yeah,
a toss out. It's just amazing.
All the things: editing, social media, content, finding a place like this, 1819 Innovation Hub Esports.
Newly painted.
I mean,
relationships and the guests we've had, and the growth is fun. I mean, all the people who are listening is really fun and cool. But man, the blessing that we've had with the other people sitting in the room with us, and then even the topics just amongst us three has been really rich.
That's the biggest joy for me, is just meeting all these people and hearing their stories. Everybody's got a story, and we all need to hear each other's stories. Yeah. And so, thank you.
I can honestly say, this scratches an itch in retirement, in purpose for me. A year ago, I didn't know this was going to be a big part, and my what I've taken from my past has been relationships. It's been stories. It's been bringing stories to life in physical places, and this has just been the opportunity to find my purpose and to do something about it, and this is it.
Yeah, to live.
So I'm doing that.
You get to live in what once you created statically and walked away from. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And one more thing I want to bring on out, and again, thanking you guys, because as we talk off mic and even on mic, that we hope our conversations are those that are interest and inspire, and just hear three guys talking about their personal experiences. We're not experts in a lot of the things we're talking about, but we are experts in who we are and what we're trying to do, and our experiences sort of mold us. And as we hope that the Redirect Podcast does inspire others, well, it's inspired me. A couple of weeks ago, we did an episode that was called Contentment versus Complacency. And as you guys recall, I was very definitive in my statement that I did not know what contentment was. And as a result of listening to our podcast in the editing formats as well as the final production, I want to say thank you for helping me to see ambition and what that represents. By that phrase, and I think you brought it up, Dale, about ambition is out there. It gave me an opportunity to compartmentalize this drive that I have in me that prevents me from enjoying the moment and to be content. And through that conversation from our own podcast, I learned something from myself to be able to sit back and say, wow, I'm having fun. I'm content with where I am because I've now been able to put that ambition into the ambition bucket, and it doesn't cloud what's happening.
Draw on it when it's necessary.
Yeah, and so it's sort of weird, but again, it's another testimony that even our podcast has helped me to understand myself better so that now I can be content. So thank you. And thank you for this opportunity.
Compartmentalize for you, Curt. It's not getting rid of it. It's there, but it's in its place. And as Adam just appropriately mentioned, you can call it up when you need it. but you know that you have it in control. You and God have it in control.
Yeah. I mean, I am able now to put it there.
Okay.
And I can wave to it, but I'm going to say, hey, I'm having fun now. I'll get back to you later, as opposed to it totally clouding today.
Did you name it anything?
I don't know. Maybe what?
Give it a name.
Andy the Ambition?
There's Andy the Ambition. We now have Andy. When Andy needs to come up, you can call Andy.
Oh, Andy.
That's terrible. That's so terrible.
That is just horrible. But it's a real thing.
We'll work on that.
Yeah. But it's a real thing that I again, there's so many real things that are happening with this whole thing. And I just wanted to take that time to let our listeners know that even us, as we do this podcast, we're learning. And I want to thank you guys for helping me to realize that contentment is real, and it's really sort of fun now that I'm able to enjoy it. It's like, wow, this is pretty cool, but I'm never going to be complacent. Never going to be complacent.
We'll keep an eye on you. Don't worry. That's why we're doing this. It's our job. But speaking, that's real. That's something that's happened. That's real. And I came across an article recently. I was reading Medium, which is something I get in my email still. And given we're all about finding purpose in retirement, and we've had several guests on, have shared their redirection stories to inspire, encourage, and educate us. This article was called "The Retirement Myth: What Most Americans Really Do After They Stop Working." I think all of us know that you can watch TV commercials with gray hairs on beautiful boats and living the life of retirement. And that's what everybody is striving for, right? And that's what retirement's going to be like, right? Adam, Curt, is that
I have no
retirement? Adam, you'll get there. Don't worry.
He hasn't tasted that honey yet.
That's right.
So the article is written by a gentleman by the name of Troy Breland, and he brought up some really interesting points in his article and really opened my eyes about what may be ahead for me as I talk about my next 30. So to kick off today's episode, instead of me asking you guys questions to get the conversation going, I thought we'd engage our listening audience by asking questions about the reality of retirement.
So we're going to ask a series of questions to them, give them a chance to contemplate their answers, and is that what's going to happen?
But wait a minute. Podcasts. You guys listen to podcasts. You're in your car. You're outside going for a walk. We're not asking people. Are you asking people to pull out a paper and pencil and that we're going to fill out a survey while this or?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
We're going to ask a question.
Pull over right now.
And we're going to give you 3 answers, and you're going to get to think about it. But we're going to engage you by actually thinking about what the answer is. We're going to give the answer and discuss it.
Okay. Question at a time.
That?
All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
This is going to be good.
Let's get started.
I'm in.
All right. First question. It's a toughie. What is an average American's age to retire? You have 3 options here. 68, 66, or 64. Give you all a second to think about that.
Yeah, so listeners, what is it? Is it 68, 66, or 64 is the average age of retirement?
And the answer is?
It is 64.
64.
64. Now, I'm a little slow to come around because I did it about 70. I don't know about you, Curt.
I am slow as well. I missed it by 2 years. But, Adam, that means you're closer.
What I'll do is I'll try to get in. I'll get out early so you guys I can level set your the average here.
Yeah, that's right. That would mean next year.
Hopefully.
Now this is a statement that is saying that that's when people make the choice to. It may not necessarily be the most optimal situation because I think the Social Security age for full retirement benefit is now 67 years of age. But that's interesting that people are even choosing to get out before they get
full benefits.
Full benefit. And again, we don't know that story if they're have wherewithal to hold out until that time period or whatever, but that surprised me a little bit being that young.
I thought it would have been 68 of the 3 options, 66, 64, 66, 68. I thought it would have been 68 because of that full benefit thing. Right. But in thinking through all of this, I remembered another stat we heard somewhat early on in inception of this was that like 60% of all retirees don't retire on their terms.
That's a great point.
And I wonder if that influences that number downward.
That could be.
Yeah, there's such a thing called a package that a lot of companies offer their people, and they get to get out quickly with a year of salary or more, which obviously, did I ever think about that retirement? I kind of thought that is an opportunity to go do something else if you're younger, but it truly, is a retirement stat.
Yeah.
64.
64. All right. That was a good first question, because here comes the other shoe to drop. Uh-oh. What is the average American life expectancy in age? Is it 78? Is it 82? Or is it 85? Okay, listening audience, you've had a chance to think about it. What say you, Curt?
Well, the answer is 82.
My gosh, and that gives us, Adam, how many years?
18 years in retirement. Are we surprised by this? 78, 82, 85? I mean, it's an amalgamation of the two genders, right? It's the average.
It is. I talked to my doc the other day, and he had immediately goes to splitting it, which I think everybody seems to, between male-female, because female's about 83, 84, male's about 75, 76.
Right.
That's a big difference, guys.
And I wonder where the gender, not just the life expectancy, but the number of men and the number of women start to show up in the populace. Like, at what age does it turn that women are outnumbering men? Is it this 82, because that's the way math could potentially work, or is that being influenced later? Regardless, off topic. Might delete that.
Yeah. But we've got 18 years,
18
and I keep talking about it as my next 30.
Yeah. And
am I just being hopeful, naive?
Yeah.
You've got longevity. You've got longevity in your genes, though.
I do, and that comes up a lot because my mom is 92. We've had her on the show. In fact, my dad was 92 when he passed. So all of a sudden, a lot of people, oh my gosh, you've got longevity. And however, I worry about how much I screwed that up, because I do remember when I was a kid doing models and sniffing glue while I was doing models a lot, and just wondered if I had affected my life expectancy by the amount of time that I literally was doing something that was very, very normal. And how can you affect it?
Well, he had a model. He had a model of a car that turned out to be a boat. So I think you're pretty creative.
That's right. At least that's the way he tells the story. He might have been under the influence.
That's right.
But you know what? You're making me a little sad, because you're talking about your family longevity. Mm-hmm. My mom and dad were 80. Mm-hmm. They passed.
Right.
And my grandfather on my dad's side was, I think, 85. And then my grandfather on my mom's side was 78. So I got 12 years.
And my wife's parents, somebody very close to me, they were 68. Wow. So Fran has already marked the moment where she surpassed that, and but I think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do our third question. How many domestic travel trips do retirees take per year? Okay, domestic travel trips. Again, remember that's commercial. We're on the cruise ships and going all around the country all the time as retirees, right, Curt?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but
so
you're in the car and you're in the airplane too.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So is it 1 to 2 trips, domestic travel? Is it 3 to 4 trips? Or is it 5 or more trips? Think about that, audience. How many domestic travel trips are you going to be taking per year?
I think the fantasy version of retirement would suggest that this is probably like 3 or 4, top end being what I think expectations are and hopes are, that we're traveling once a quarter, we're out all the time, travel. Everybody just loves the idea of travel in retirement.
Yes, and we have to remember that this is over a period of time.
Yeah,
all right,
the average over 18 years.
Correct. So in the beginning, you may be traveling 10 times every month go visit someplace here in the United States. But then when you turn 80 years old, you may not go out at all in the course of a year. So I have to keep that in mind, because I'm shocked in the answer.
And the answer is 1 to 2 trips.
That just shocks me. I mean, that equates to only about 24 trips or
over 18 years.
Over 18 years.
However, one very important thing that happens, though, is that as you retire, too, you're on fixed income. You start budgeting and thinking about those trips, because I'm on trip number, realistically, domestic travel trip number 2, and that's probably going to be it for the year. So I'm on that average. To your point, Curt, gee, I should be 3 to 4.
How many times have you been to Cleveland?
I have been to Cleveland. Well, that to me is not a domestic trip. That's just seeing a grandchild.
You're getting in your car and you're leaving Cincinnati and you're going someplace else to visit family. That to me is a domestic trip.
It isn't for me.
Adam, what say you?
I say we jump into the next question.
Regardless, we do have the freedom to do it whenever we want, and that's critical.
And I would assume most travel domestically as we get older will not necessarily be on boats or planes. It'll probably be in the car. Mm-hmm. And then as we get older, we will not be driving far. People will be driving to see us. So I still disagree with 1 to 2. I would like to see it 3 to 4, because I'm one of those guys that'll keep traveling, and you are.
But remember, this is not international. This is domestic. We're coming up on that one.
Well, yeah. So I think it's an important distinction, and we're talking about the retirement reality versus retirement fantasy, and the reality is the trips to go see family and the trips to go see an old friend. Those all count. And the data is suggesting that it's 1 to 2 of even those. Yeah. So in total, you said 24 trips over 18 years. It's 1.5 or whatever the average is there, but it's all inclusive of those extravagant. Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to New York. Let's go to the Grand Canyon. Let's go all these other places, and a trip to Cleveland to go see some family.
Yeah.
So. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things.
No, it's not. Which brings us up to our next question, which is regarding international trips. What percentage of American retirees will travel abroad?
Percentage of Americans that will travel abroad.
So this is not the number of trips you're taking.
No, this is the number of people. The percentage of American retirees who travel abroad.
Okay.
So your answers could be 25, could be 33, could be 40.
It's got to be 40, obviously.
No.
But it isn't.
It isn't.
I thought that. I thought it would have been very high. The answer is only 33%.
A third.
A third. And what was interesting was, oh my gosh, we're going to have this time. We're going to have this money, time and money. We can travel, and in conversations that I've had with a lot of my friends, it's like, who wants the hassle of overnight travel?
Okay.
All of a sudden, the reality of traveling long distances and the reality that you're getting older start to converge on each other, and that all of a sudden made me think, well, maybe the number's not as high as I thought.
And I think that the data suggested that not only is it only a third of people will do it at all, the total number of excursions is only like 2 to 4 in total.
Right.
So think about this. I mean, we are speaking from a class or a group, if we're getting back into the math of the subgroup and the group and all this stuff. We are in a fortunate situation that we have had the opportunity to travel. You've been down to the Galapagos since doing this. I've been to the BVI since doing this. Adam is still in Milford. But let's think about all of Americans. And when we start looking outside of the blessings and the opportunities that we've had, there's a lot of Americans out there that may not even leave, that may not even go to Canada. Yeah.
Listeners, how are you doing on the quiz so far? Have you aligned with the data? Have you aligned with our opinions of the data? How you doing on the quiz?
Well, so let's go to the next question. Yeah. How many vehicles will be purchased after one retires. Because once again, remember, you're going to be in that convertible Mustang in that commercial with that beautiful wife of yours going down the road, and you're on a beach. So just thinking about that. But is it 1 to 2 vehicles? Again, this is over 18 years, right? Over 18 years.
Yeah.
2 to 3 vehicles or 3 to 4 vehicles?
I'm going to
And
say
the answer is
2 to 3.
2 to 3 vehicles.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, that I thought about that, and then I thought about fixed income and said, no, I'm not going to be spending, a bunch of money on a new car that's getting me everywhere I need to get right now so I can get to the airport and take those trips.
Right. And I think the concept of the automobile need changes as you get older. Right now, we have an F-150 pickup truck and we have a Mercury Milan. Both of them have over 150,000 miles. One is 15 years old. The other is 9 years old. And they're both working well.
Why change at that point?
Why change? I don't want a car payment. And I'm not going to buy a new car, because I have to be conscious of how much money I'm spending on an automobile. And then I start thinking, yes, I've always wanted a Mustang, Dale, to your point. But every time I think about, and I've test driven them, and every time I think about purchasing one, I'm like, okay, I throw my golf clubs in, I throw in a bag to go visit family someplace else domestically.
And you don't have room for your wife.
And Jackie's not making the trip. But the need's going to change. I mean, we have 2 cars. There's going to come a time where we only need one. But right now our lives are still putting us in different directions, and who knows what's happening in the future with Uber and self-driving cars and all this stuff down the road. I don't want to spend a fortune on an automobile because I will never use all the benefits of those automobiles. I want to be able to be conscious of the car that's functional and practical for me.
So what is the answer, Dale?
The answer was 2 to 3 vehicles. Let's go back to that. 2 to 3, over 18 years. So, all right, let's go to the next question. What is, and this is a big one, what is the average TV viewing hours per day? Average TV viewing hours per day. Is it 4.5 to 6? Is it 5.5 to 7? Or 6.5 to 8?
For the sake of humanity, I hope it's the lesser.
The lesser?
That you're watching 4
The lesser of
to
3
6.
evils? Is that what you're saying?
I understand that, but 4.5 to 6 hours of watching TV a day.
Well, I mean, we're talking reality. This is how people are choosing to spend their time.
I know, but doesn't that scare the heck out of you? Even you say it's the lesser of evils? That to me is a big evil.
Well, sure, but there's not a lesser option on the list. So,
well, that's true.
That's it. Yeah. So if you haven't figured it out yet, audience, it's 4.5 to 6 hours.
Thank goodness.
By the way, that equates to 5.7 years of TV over 18.
Yeah.
And I've got
think
some.
of that. 5 years out of 18 to spend.
And I've
streaming.
got some stats on that later that I
Okay.
think are gonna shed some light on how we're spending our time.
Okay, next question. As we age, our bodies break down. Post-retirement, what is the average number of doctor visits you will have per year? It can be 6 to 8 visits. It can be 8 to 10 visits, or it can be 10 to 12 visits. Again, how many doctor visits will you have per year? I will say the answer is 8 to 10 visits, which equates to about 170 appointments over those 18 years.
Wow.
Does that shock you, Adam?
It does, because thankfully I'm of decent health in my current youth. And 10 is basically the equivalent of one every 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. Right? You're going to the doctor every 5 weeks. That's a lot.
In reality, I think it's one of those questions too, or one of those facts too, that as you age, I think it's going to increase. I wouldn't expect now you and I to be running once a month to go see the doc. It's once a year for your physical, it's probably once every 2 months or so. I know for me, and
I'm going to push back a little bit on this, in the sense that, here we talk about on this show about keeping your mind active, doing things in moderation for your body in order to help and adjust things, adapt to things so that you're still moving and moving and moving. And my feeling is, and I know that anything can happen tomorrow and it can change it just like that. And we have examples of those. But my feeling is that if we keep having purpose in our life and driving ourselves in order to stay in a movement mode, I think that we can affect the number of times that we visit a doctor and the number of times that we have medical concerns, because we are being proactive at a time that we can, which then becomes a habit in how we do things. And I think we can impact that based upon our mindset and how we look at retirement, and not accepting the aspect of being old and that I can't do that anymore. No, keep working at it, and let's not achieve that number. Let us group
pull down the average.
Let's pull down the average, because I think we can.
I totally agree, and I think if I could say that one of the purposes of this podcast, is to present that other mindset that affects that fact. And hopefully maybe if we come back to this in a year or 2 or 3, the averages may be changing. But I think if I think about the whole of society, and this question kind of being for everybody, I would say maybe, I'm going to throw this number out top of my head, 20 to 30%, who are really actively trying to prolong their life by doing super healthy things.
Yeah.
I think that stat is consistent not with the aged, but with youth as well.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I think it's a human mindset that suggests I want to take care of myself for the sake of general health, longevity, and all of that. So it doesn't surprise me that matriculates up into retirement age.
And according to this article, that's the reality of retirement right now. So it is what it is.
It
is what it is.
We're back to reality. So next question is, how many hospitalizations will you experience in total over the next 18 years? Is it going to be 2 to 3 admissions, 3 to 5 admissions, or 5 to 6 admissions? Well, if we can all be really healthy, maybe this number too will go down. But right now, the average reality is 3 to 5 admissions over the next 18 years. So think about that's going in for something, I would say, kind of serious if you're going into the hospital.
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years, yeah. That's
wow. And what's an average stay at when they call it a hospitalization? What's the average stay?
It's 4 to 5 days. So you're talking about you're in there for
serious
something
recovery
serious,
from a
I think.
stroke or heart attack.
Well, interesting thing is since, and I'll tell the world this, I've been in the hospital 3 times for what I call heart incidences. The first one was stents being put in, but that was a 2-day stay, but 3 times.
Yeah, just
because something happened with the stent 2 more times after that. But when I think about the hospital stay, not 4 to 5, that feels like living in the hospital to me. So
yeah.
Time for a quick break. If you're liking what you're hearing, do us a quick favor. Hit that follow button, share it with your friends and family, drop us a quick comment, and then a 5-star review. It really helps us keep going and growing. Then head over to Instagram and follow us there too. Thanks for the help, and now let's get back to work. I've been very fortunate. I've had to date, I'm 54 and a half, basically, and I've had 1 night in the hospital since I was born. Total.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was when I had cancer.
Wow.
I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, you have.
I'm on the other side of the scale because to date I've had 17 surgeries, all requiring, some kind of hospital stay, and, that's tremendous amount of that was primarily just genetics.
Well, and times
Well,
have
I'm going to
changed.
live till 92, like my parents.
Yeah.
I'm still, it's just, there's just things that happen, with inflammation and arthritis and everything else that causes a lot more hospital visits.
Yeah, and the trend now is basically drive-through medicine, right? Where I'm going to get, I had my hip replaced, and I mean they had me at the house like 2 hours after they took me off the anesthesia. I mean, it's quick nowadays.
Yeah. Good. Well, let's proceed on with what's real here. Okay, next question is, what percentage of retirees will require some form of long-term care? Is it 50%, 60%, or 70%? And again, that's requiring some form of long-term care. The answer is 70%.
That's a huge number.
That is big.
I am blown away by that.
It's a big number, but it doesn't surprise me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the next question kind of puts some parameters around that, because we ask, what is the average stay at a senior living community, which can be 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. So audience listening, again, your choice is it 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years for the average stay at a senior living community?
And the answer is
2 years.
2 years.
That surprises
2
me
years.
too. If 70% of people are going into long-term care, it is surprising to me that number, that their stay in senior living is so low.
It doesn't surprise me at all, Adam. Because
Educate me.
If let's face it, senior living communities are becoming more popular. Our younger people don't have the wherewithal to care for their parents as maybe done 30, 40 years ago. And as a result, this is an option. The decision to put mom or dad into a senior living community is unfortunately not necessarily mom or dad's decision. It is driven by circumstances. It is driven by health. It is driven by the workload of the family and all the pressures that are on a young family today.
Yep.
And it's sort of like the last thing. And they've done as best as they can as far as keeping dad or mom in their home, or maybe bringing them into their house for a period of time in the mother-in-law suite type of thing of their house. But then it gets to the point where I'm afraid to leave mom and dad by themselves, either in their home or in our house. And we put them in there. And then, unfortunately, I think that that's the beginning of the serious decline.
But 2 years, I was shocked because my mom was not a fan of going into a senior living community. She's on year 6.
Right.
Doing very well. And I think senior living communities may get kind of a worse rap than they deserve because, again, because of the community, because they're take care of all those needs that seniors have. Longevity, I would think, would be more than just living alone.
So, Dale, I have a question for you. Based on our conversation with Russ Conrad about seniors living in community, your mom's perspective, if this number is as low as it is at 2 years, do you think that based on what Curt said, what Russ has said, do you anticipate that number to increase over time? And is that a good thing or bad thing?
I think however you find community, whether it's with your family or in senior community, it's critical, and I expect that number to be much bigger.
That's awesome.
And the origination of my comment was looking at a certain part of the demographic of the bell-shaped curve. I was talking about the person that is difficult to manage versus the boomers of today, that we are adventuresome. We like to still go out. We're active. And to your point, Adam, with Russ Conrad's visit here with us, that those communities are thriving because of the boomer and the attitude that they have, the mindset that they have, that I'm going to keep moving. And now they're creating places that people can continue to do that. So I agree with that. What I was talking about was a very small demographic. Well, I shouldn't say small. It's a demographic of this population that is a part of the equation here. And again, the reality of the whole United States of America in viewing.
Right.
So
Right. Which brings us to our next question, which is, an avid reader will read how many books in retirement? Very interesting.
Reader.
An avid reader. That boy pretty much takes me out of the equation. But if you're going to be an avid reader, how many books? Is it 100 to 200? Is it 200 to 300? Or is it 300 to 400 books read in retirement?
18 years.
18 years. The answer is 300 to 400 books.
That's a
So
lot.
an avid reader, although I have friends who are avid readers, and they go through books, like it's drinking 64 ounces of water.
Book a week kind of thing.
Yeah, and they get into book clubs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are all in book clubs and reading it as community, interestingly enough. But
I love that.
But avid. What do you,
I don't think I've read 300 to 400 books in my life right now.
I'm not sure what avid means.
You ought to read a book on a dictionary.
Okay.
What do you think?
I like
Read the
that.
Bible and the dictionary.
Speaking
You'll
of
be just
books,
fine.
speaking of books,
Yes.
do you guys read like fun books, or are you always reading books that are sort of an area of interest that you're looking to grow and develop on?
I am when I read books, I read biographies primarily, probably war biographies, either about the people that were in the war or the time or the war itself.
And I go through spells. I will hit a spell where I'm interested in self-help and trying to develop, professionally or, whatever I can do for relationships. I'll go through a spell of biographies, and usually it's contemporary people that I find interesting because I can see their lives in real time and understand their story. And then I really love Malcolm Gladwell, whole bunch of authors around that genre. And then sometimes, I've been out of it for a little bit, but I'll do a James Patterson kind of thing, and and some because I read some and I listen a lot. Podcasts are taking over that listening capacity, so I find myself reading less books lately, but I go through spells.
And because I'm taking those 1 to 2 trips a year, audiobooks are becoming, a go-to for me. I mean, I get in the car and I want to have an audiobook to listen to, which is for me a great way at being very ADD, and again, I've always struggled. I'm doing it right now. I'm going to Alaska in a week or two, and I'm reading Michener's Alaska, which is a 1,200-page book with small print.
And when did you start reading it?
I started that 2 weeks ago, realizing it was going to be a challenge, and I'm 200 pages in.
Wow. So are you going to still read it when you're on the cruise and then when you
Yes,
come
I'm
back?
totally bringing it with me. But as active as I'd love to be, being more in the boomer age of looking for adventure,
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch that thing.
1,200 pages. I mean, that's its own checked bag at this point.
That's exactly right. That throws it over. You're going to be paying extra money for that one, baby.
All right. Last big question here is, how many volunteering hours will an active retiree volunteer accrue? That's
So
a tough
18
one.
years.
Yeah.
18 years of
18
volunteering.
years of volunteering. Will it be 2,000 to 4,000 hours, 4 to 6, or 6 to 8? So, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. The answer is 2,000 to 4,000 hours, the lesser of
over
the
18
three
years.
options.
That surprises
Over
me.
18
That
years.
surprises me big time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the reality of it, but that's sad.
Yeah, and I think to all the stuff we've been alluding to before, where some of these other things started competing for our capacity, our time, our energy, all of those things.
Yeah, and just like as we said with the travel thing, I'm sure your volunteer years are going to be up in your earlier parts of retirement and may not necessarily be as prevalent in your later time of retirement, but it still saddens me that we choose not to volunteer as opposed to sitting at home and watching 50,000
I think
hours
it's
of TV in 18 hours.
I highly suggest that we come back and visit this and see if we can get this guy to do this again in 2 years or 3 years and see what's changed. It'd be really interesting, one, to know that we will be still podcasting in 3 years to do this.
Exactly.
That's right.
Secondly, it's just, I just see the new, I guess the next generation, we like to think we're improving all the time. So
Dale, what's the summary on that article? I think you put together some key takeaways from that article.
we do, and a typical day in retirement. That's really so. You see the commercials, but now let's talk about reality and what a typical day looks like. All right, so let's break down what 24-hour day might look like. First of all, you're going to sleep 7 to 8 hours. That's been a change for me. I'm really working on getting 8 hours of sleep because I know it's important. So critical. So that's kind of a given. We all need that. We know that. 4.5, we already know the answer to this, 4.5 to 6 hours of watching TV or streaming. If you think about that over the morning and the evening, say there's an hour in the morning and 3 to 4 at night.
So a person who is working for 8 hours a day has replaced that almost by just watching television and streaming things.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah, over the remaining 18 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
1.5 to 2 hours of eating. Yeah, agree. 1 to 2 hours of reading or on your hobbies.
Especially if you got a 1,200 pager to knock out.
Yeah, that would be 24 hours from me. Okay.
Or
thanks.
building models with glue.
Or that doesn't happen anymore. They've taken the glue off the market. You can't get that.
Oh, you've actually looked.
That's why I'm going to Lego.
For it.
That's why I've done Legos. You just snap them in there, Kurt. And glue them.
Got a
although
black
I
market
wanted to
stand.
glue those things because my little grandson kept taking them apart. So, all right, 1 to 2 hours of reading or on hobbies, a half an hour to an hour of doing physical activity. We all know that's what we have to do, and follow Kurt's lead on that. 1 to 2 hours of handling healthcare errands and appointments. By the way, for me, that's standing in line at Walgreens trying to get those prescriptions that I need to pick up.
It counts.
Unbelievable how often you have to do that. And then 1 to 1.5 hours of socializing or volunteering. That's your day.
So
anything shock you? Anything jump out?
No, it doesn't. So I took those numbers and I pressed on them to see what would come out. And taking kind of the low end, I added something in that I want to talk about briefly. And I took the low end of those averages.
Okay.
Sleeping 7 hours a day.
Yep.
I mean, you'll sleep 45, almost 46,000 hours in 18 years. I called it resting, relaxing, watching TV or streaming, lumped it all together, called it 4 hours, 26,000 hours. Eating, because I think you could actually blow that up a little bit. I think 2 hours a day, talking about prepping food and cooking and cleaning up from dinner, all of that stuff, 2 hours a day, 13,000 hours in 18 years. Reading or hobbies, an hour a day. Physical activity, an hour a day. Handling healthcare errands, 2 hours a day. Handling healthcare errands and appointments, 2 hours a day sounds like a lot, but you have to factor in you'll be doing some of that with your spouse as well.
Right.
Socializing with friends and family or volunteering, an hour a day. There's that low end we were talking about just a minute ago. And then I put in another one because it wasn't included in the article, is basically chores like cutting grass, cleaning, laundry, all of the stuff you have to do.
Domestic
stuff you have to keep your house running.
If you're not in a senior care
So in
facility.
reality, that's right. So that adds up to 20 hours. All of that time adds up to 20 hours. It means you only have 4 hours a day left to spend on how you choose. Right? I think it's important to note that breakdown of how the average day in retirement goes, those are choices made for you. You can't avoid the fact that you're going to need to eat and sleep and be standing in line at Walgreens. You can't avoid that time. It's being chosen for you. So you only have about 4 hours left per day. That 4 hours, and this is what I did to really kind of squeeze out an interesting number, If you take 4 hours a day times 365 days, that's 1,460 hours per year, times the 18 years that you're likely to be in retirement from 64 to 82, that's 26,280 hours that you have to choose and how you can spend.
How many years is that? Do you know?
That's where I'm going, because that 26,000 hours equals just shy of 1,100 days, which is 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
So of 18 years that you will likely spend in retirement, according to the averages, you get to choose how you spend 3 years.
3 years of it. Yep. So really important that we think, as we're a work in progress here, finding purpose in what we're doing, that's the impact that we're going to be able to have. So really important to, be very intentional about how you're going to spend those 3 years.
Yeah. You've got 3 years to live. In 18 years, you've got 3 years to live. The rest of it's being chosen for you.
You're depressing me, Adam.
No, I can hear that. I bet that's true. I bet I understand that completely. But doesn't that flag a sense of urgency on how you choose to spend your time?
It does. And when you made that comment, even though we're talking about the reality of retirement, all right, I just thought about that younger person that's in career that has 8 hours of their life consumed by their by their work. Least. That then they've got to cram all these other things that we were trying to. They don't get 7 to 8 hours worth of sleep.
They've got kids.
They're down to 4 to 5. They got kids. They're running people around, which is equating to our standing in line at Walgreens.
Yep. And
all these things that they probably don't have any time.
Blink and decades go by.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
We're fortunate that we'll have some time to make decisions on their own, but there right now is just keeping up with the machine that's going on out there, and I applaud them, and I'll pray for them, because I as I said,
but what a blessing though for us who have the time now to be able to give it to them. Going to Cleveland this weekend, we're already saying make sure you go out on date night on Saturday night. We'll take care of the kids. You go.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I think that's massive opportunity.
That's
for us.
That's some of the hours we can do within this time. That's our choice to help out our family, to help them.
Give them
find
some time.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So get busy living.
Get busy.
Find your purpose and live it.
So if I could say something as far as this whole thing, Dale, thank you for bringing that article to our attention. It was eye-opening, and it was, again, a reality that I don't necessarily think about, because I'm thinking it in another way. And when I hear of all these things in 18 years down the road and everything like that, I just want to focus on today and sort of see what tomorrow brings tomorrow, but be having a choice and being proactive, to be deliberate and to have purpose and to work on relationships. We have choices in the life we live and how we live. In some instances, however, choices may be made for us because of our personal circumstances. So when preparing for a good retirement, focus on relationship, movement, and purpose. That's the takeaway from this. Those reality numbers are the real thing. I'd love to have Troy Bryland come on to our podcast so he can give us more conversation about it. And if you're listening, Troy, contact us at info@redirect-u.com. We'd love to have you on the show. But it gets down to that point of what we're all about, and to appreciate what we have and to focus on what we can do and how we can do it, and getting out of the bed each day and having purpose in our life. Dale?
Waking up every day, having gratitude. And I thought about this morning. Just thank you for the day, for the opportunity to make those choices. And I want to thank the audience for rolling with us on our Q&A here. Haven't done that yet. Maybe we'll do that again in the future. But great article, great perspective. Hopefully it starts conversations for you. Our idea is to have the conversation and to inspire the conversation and to learn from it.
Catch you next time on the Redirect Podcast.
If you enjoyed today's episode, you can find more of our content on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as Instagram. Have questions or want to connect? Drop us a line at info@redirect-u.com. We'd love to hear from you. Remember, there's purpose in your life, so find it and go do something about it.